Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Miguel. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or watching this channel for the first time, the reason why it's called Uncommon Sense because here on this platform, we discuss everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions, but not everyone uses logic. So that reason it is called Uncommon Sense. I see here we already have a couple of comments. Good evening, Keshaw. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting topic. And of course, we have Gigi in the chat. Good evening. Thank you very much for stopping by. Okay. Now, I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. And of course, I need to let everyone know that the subscriber mode has been enabled, meaning that if you're not a subscriber and if you want to enter a comment in the chat, you will need to subscribe to the channel. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who have always subscribed to the channel, whether it be from the beginning or whether it be just recently. I really appreciate all the love and support all of you have given me. Also, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me in social media and those who allow me who enter in your devices. So what I'm going to ask you to do, if you have not done so, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, hit the bell notification and like and hit the bell notification to all. So therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. Now, as you can see by the thumbnail, the topic of tonight is why people hate their jobs. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some reasons why people might not be happy with their job situation. Okay. Now, I've been having some trouble with my Wi-Fi the last 2 or 3 hours. It seems like it comes and goes. So now what I'm going to do is before we get into the topic, I'm going to share a video clip, okay? Now, let me make this particularly clear. Not all women think like this illustration that I'm going to show you, okay? Because there are some great women, and there are women that do believe in equality, okay? And it also means not just equality as far as getting the perks, but also equality dealing with the consequences that go along with those perks, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. I don't know if my computer will cooperate. Okay. Okay, oops. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute myself and I'm going to air the video. Just one moment.
And we want equality. Oh, thank God you brought it up. Men's rights community here. We have a big book of things we'd like to ask. First of all, men would like equal access to their children.
No, in a case of divorce, it's always best that the child reside primarily with the mom.
Oh, can't say I wasn't expecting that. They're asking for female domestic abusers to receive the same jail time as a male abuser. Ooh, yeah, we actually can't do that because when a woman is beating on a man, it's always in self-defense. He was almost always beating her first. That is unequivocally untrue. Okay, what about when a woman falsely accuses a man of rape or domestic violence? She should go to jail for the exact same amount of time that he would have done had he been found guilty. Wow, let's be honest. You hate women and you're just using the most heinous crime that can happen to them as a punishment. Well, all right. Well, can you at least shut the fuck up about their dick sizes and their height?
No.
All right, now we're
just the fuck kind of equality are you looking for? Why the fuck are you here?
We are
Okay, and I see here we have Malala Vanguard in the chat. Good evening. Yeah, you know what? I happen to love my job too. Okay, but this, not everyone is as fortunate as we are to love our jobs. There are people who are not happy with their current work situation. So we're going to get into what are some of the common reasons why. Okay. Now, as far as the video clip is concerned, and let me make this perfectly clear. I think women should be treated equally. Okay. But however, equality means taking on all the perks and all the responsibilities that comes with equality. Okay. It does not mean that women should be mistreated. It does not mean women should be abused. However, if you're going to claim equality to men, you need to accept the entire package, okay? Which means the perks, means the responsibilities, which means the consequences to your actions, okay? But that is what is the situation. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get into the main topic. So as I stated, the topic for tonight is why people hate their jobs, okay? Now, many of us are fortunate in the sense that we're happy with our current work environment. We're happy with the fact that, that we are in places where we're able to be productive, we're able to advance in our places of employment, and we are given many opportunities as well. Okay. Not everyone is blessed with that reality. Okay. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm probably going to last maybe an hour unless other people chime in. Let's take a look at the first reason why people hate their jobs: salary. Okay. Now, I think it is more or less understood that whenever you start in your employment with an employer, regardless of what type of employment, whether it be blue collar, white collar, whether it be highly technical or not technical, whether it be sales or whatever, that you're going to start with a certain salary, okay? And in time, what you hope for is that as you continue to do well at your place of employment, that you will receive raises in salary. Okay. Unfortunately, there are some places where you have people who make the same salary as I started maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Okay. So that could be very frustrating. Okay. If you're doing your job and you're performing well, and it's not reflected in your paycheck, okay, and the fact of the matter is this: that there are many reasons why. It could be the employer is not doing well. It could be the employer does not value its employees enough to get an appropriate wage. It could be many factors. Okay, so that's one reason why people may not like their job. Another reason people may not like their jobs is that there is no opportunity for advancement or promotion. Okay. It could be very difficult pill to swallow that if you are in a place of employment and you pursue promotions, and every time that you're up for a promotion, you're not granted that promotion and it's given to someone else. So it could be very discouraging, particularly if you see colleagues who've been at your place of employment for less time that you have been, and they're getting a promotion and you're not. Okay. Of course, there could be many factors why. Some of it could be simply because the employee is not performing his, his or her, up for ability, or it could be, well, you know what? It could be favoritism. Okay. Now, in my case, I'm in the midst of an employee. So the most common way to try to get promotion is to take promotional exams, and hopefully not only just pass those promotion exams, but to score, but to be high enough on the list to be called in for an interview. Okay. So it could be very frustrating. Okay. Also, it could be frustrating that that people do not recognize the work that you do. Okay. If you are with a small employer, it's easier. I think it's easier to get recognition for the work that you do. It could be a problem when you are with a huge employer, okay, whether it be a Fortune 500 company, or it could be a mid-sized company, or what have you. Good evening, Irby. How are you doing tonight? Thank you very much for stopping by. The topic for tonight is why people hate their jobs. Okay. So what I'm discussing is what some of the factors why people may not be happy with their place of employment. Okay. And I'm doing well. Thank you very much, Irby. So the first reason people may not be happy is that their salary. Okay. Maybe they're not, maybe they're not making a salary commensurate to your experience or commensurate to your performance. Okay. That could be very discouraging. And I stated before, another issue why is the lack of opportunities for promotion or advancement. Okay. It could be very difficult. Another problem. Oh, really? You're looking for another job? Well, good luck on your search. Okay. I hope you find what you're looking for. I hope you find a job that that can use your talents and expertise, so to speak. Another issue why people do not like their job is that it could be a very toxic environment. And let me explain to you what I mean by that. Okay. Now, the fact of the matter is, we're not there to be well liked. We're not there to be popular. We're there to do a job. Okay. Now, it helps if we got along with our coworkers, and hopefully, and that's something we should all strive to do. But of course, whenever you're dealing with an environment when you have a group of people and you have people of different personalities and different types of thinking, sometimes you're going to deal with those who are very toxic. And sometimes you're going to deal with those um, who argue, who will complain, who try to be a disruptive influence at your place of work. Okay. Yeah, you also have those individuals that for whatever reason, uh, whatever problems that they have at home, um, they'll bring it to the workplace. With all due respect, why are you doing that? Okay, it's better that you deal with whatever issues that you have at home, whether it be because problems um, with your spouse, problems with your children, problems with your neighbors. Okay, um, there is no need for co-workers to be involved in whatever disputes that you're having outside of the workplace. Okay, and the fact of the matter is, look, we don't have to like each other, but we do have to work together. Okay, we do have to try to get along with each other. Okay, one thing that can damage morale is when you have people who cannot get along with each other, and for reasons who knows, no one really knows. Okay, also another reason people may not like their their work environment is because of the gossip. Okay, unfortunately, you have people who love to cause rumors, who love to gossip about many things. It could be regarding what's happening with the company. It could be what's happening with this person. It could be happening with that person, and whatever. And what gossiping does? It can have a negative effect on morale, because look, the fact of the matter is, you are at your place of employment 7 or 8 hours a day. So you figure a 7 hour workday plus an hour for lunch, hopefully. Okay. So you're spending a good chunk of your day with other people. The last thing you need is to have spent a good chunk of your day dealing with people that you cannot get along with. Okay. No one likes that. Okay. And it could be very, very stressful. Okay. Particularly if you're dealing with an environment where, excuse me, an environment where you have excuse me, just give me a moment. When you're trying to do your job, and then next thing you know, you're hearing about this person doing this and this person doing that. So that could be very toxic. Okay. Another reason why, just give me a moment. I'm sorry, I just have to text somebody. Also, what could be a problem is that if there is like an office type of romance going on, and then there are problems in the relationship, and then next thing you know, everyone is aware, everyone's aware about what's going on, and it can get very messy very quickly. Another reason why people may not like their jobs is that your role is not defined. Okay. Now, okay, this is what I truly believe. People in general, want to have a clear understanding what they're supposed to do. Okay, they want a clear understanding how as far as their assignment. They want a clear understanding is what is their function. Okay, whenever you have a situation where your role is constantly changing, that could be stressful. Okay, because you don't know what's expected of you. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is, before I let my first guest in, I want to let everybody know that the views of those who appear on the panel are not necessarily those of the host nor the channel. Any attempt to copy the material without the consent of the host is not allowed. By appearing on the call, you waive your rights to your image. Some of the views that people may hold may consider offensive to some viewers. If you do not like the content, you can block the channel. And now I'm going to welcome my first guest. So I'm going to welcome the one, the only, of Wine and FaceTime, Keshal.
Hi, how are you? Good evening.
Good
For my
evening, Keshal. How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine, thank you. So, the topic for oops, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. So, the topic for tonight is why people hate their jobs.
I know, such a great topic, very spicy. I'm pretty sure you're gonna have a lot of people watching this in a replay and commenting in your chat.
Yes. So, why are some of the reasons why you think people may not be happy with their current work environment?
I think for a lot of people, they're not happy at their jobs because they know they spend more time at work than they do doing personal things with their family or with their personal life. That's one reason. Another reason I feel like a lot of people feel like they spend a lot of years at a job and they don't feel the reward or the benefit after during retirement, prior to retirement. They just don't feel like it evens out. So a lot of people are just not satisfied with the 9 to 5 industry gives you.
Yes. Now, in our case, we're both municipal employees, so it's a little bit different in the sense that, if we want to advance, one common way is to take promotional exams or to take promotions within a certain, how could I say it, within your civil service title. What are your thoughts?
Yes, that's something I need to do now. Like I need to actually be taking some, looking at DCAS, putting some money to the side, buying some money orders or going online to apply for some civil service jobs that can hold me some real safety security, versus being in my current title where I don't really have so much.
Yeah. So what I discussed earlier is that one problem that people may have is that their role is not defined. How do you feel about the subject about you know working environment when your role is not defined?
I've seen it a lot, and I understand how people feel because there's always that fine print, there's always that blueprint where the job seems to go on and on and on, and there's no limitation to it. So I understand that. I can receive that. I can like feel for everyone who's been in that situation that feels like, well, God doggone it. I got hired to do one thing. Now I'm doing this person's job, that person's job, the executive, the maintenance guy, the delivery man. Like even outside of my current professions, I've been in several industries where I've seen that happen. So that's a real story.
Yeah. Now, another problem that can make it difficult is when there is a toxic work environment where, you have co-workers that make life difficult, or sometimes supervisors that make life difficult. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I've definitely been in that situation with having difficult coworkers and difficult supervisors. And for me, as an introverted person, I don't do well with, you know, toxic or argumentative or hostile environments. That's just so out of my comfort zone. So for me, it was an uncomfortable situation and feeling to go through. And I definitely had to get my union involved at some point. And it's something we all need training and, constant refreshers on, how to deal with uncomfortable people or uncomfortable situations or different people from different backgrounds and cultures that, we may take offense to some things that we may see in the office space, but we wouldn't take these offenses to these things if we had the understanding of different people's backgrounds and environments and cultures on certain aspects of, that workplace situation. But that's what I have to say about that.
Yeah. Well, what makes our positions also unique is that we both have been union reps as well. So we deal with a lot of members who are not happy with their work environments for multiple reasons.
We definitely do, and it's a hard job, and you need a lot of coaching and motivation and support and guidance on the job to get it done because sometimes it seems overwhelming.
Yes, that is true. Also, what makes it difficult a work environment when you're constantly hearing rumors about bad news, rumors about maybe possible layoffs, rumors regarding other things that can affect the job performance.
Yeah, and sometimes it's hard to put those rumors down when you have different people and different opinions and people that work will have connections at the job that may have insight that other people don't. Rumors can get out of control and affect people at the workplace and make people feel like they may have to make ulterior moves even though they may not have clear understanding and direction from above on what's really going on.
Yeah. Also, what can make your work environment very difficult is uncertainty.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, not just, white Gen Zers or this current millennial generation of employees, a lot of people, period, who are workers from the silent era up until, the current era right now, we all have different mannerisms and habitat, and like, habits to how we work, and how we're proactive and, what our skill set is and what our workflow is, and, what our comfort zone is. We all have our own speed and space on that, and with today's time is like is not the same. And so some of us may have different challenges than other people because we're just not set up and wired that way, So in the workplace, these conflicts can happen for those reasons as well. Not just cultural, but age appropriate, environments, mixed blends of people in small spaces and large spaces using the same coffee room or break room or bathroom or lounge area, like is easily able to have these, conflicts and hiccups and situations that are really not major but can be made major because we're all just a little bit miseducated on each other.
Also, what could be a challenge is that when you're dealing with people of diverse backgrounds, and sometimes there's certain backgrounds that you don't have a great deal of knowledge understanding. So sometimes just dealing with people who are difficult can make it stressful in the job.
Yeah, for sure. I've definitely, had that, and it's all about, your upbringing, what you're taught, what you know from school, from your parents, your environment, and what you don't know, you just don't know. And to some people, it can seem dumb and naive of you, but you only know what you're exposed to and what you're taught, So some of us are actually just meeting for the first time, at our workplaces, people from Russia or Poland or things like that. Like we've heard of these places, we've seen these places, we've never met people from these places. So sometimes those cultural shocks are really beyond just the word cultural shock, but like it really hits us differently.
Yes. Now, of course, I've heard about where some of our members had very, toxic work environments because you have people in positions of authority that let the position go to their heads, and sometimes they mistreat some of our members. I don't know if you came across any of those situations like that.
I definitely have, and of course, I can't speak on it in details, but yeah, you
Mhm.
see it, more often than you feel you should, and you go through the trainings and the courses and the classes, get the certificates, and you follow all the rules, do everything you're supposed to do, as a rep or as an organizer, and you still see the loopholes and the gray areas, in the system where certain things never get resolved, or no matter how many complaints or grievances or conversation you may have with management or personnel, like certain things just don't happen. So, yes, definitely have seen that, and it makes you want to become an entrepreneur or not work for anyone.
Yeah, that is true. Now I have been fortunate. First of all, I've been a municipal employee for almost 24 years. So I have not had too many situations where the place was very toxic. I have dealt with a couple individuals that were toxic. So at times it was a challenge to deal with these people, um, with understanding that okay, we may not get along so great, but the fact of the matter is we all have a job to do. So I don't know if you have come across anyone that has made things toxic for you.
Sorry, I'm eating. I may have to step down for a few seconds, but absolutely. Like I feel like those are the reasons why I became a union rep in my office, and I've seen it throughout my entire union rep career in one office. Of I did about 9 years in, and it's sad, it's heartbreaking, it's frustrating. It makes you feel like, why am I doing this job? Sometimes, because no matter how many labor management meetings you want to call it, some things just seem to never get done, no matter how much work we put into it. So we see this, and, we put on the hat every day, walking to work and do our job plus the union job. So it's a situation that happens, and, there's all kind of, support you can get to, like, cool down and not be overwhelmed or stressed out. But it's a lot of work.
Well, I think part of it is we have to at times we have to pick which battles to engage and which battles not to engage because as tries we might to help our members. Unfortunately, you have a couple that do not see things the way others do.
I agree and I understand, and sometimes we do get the short end of the stick. Sometimes things do bite us in the butt where we feel like, dag, I put all my effort into that and this person screwed me, or they lied, or they left out key relevant information, or, they hung me to dry, and I was trying to represent them and support them and help them. And this is what happened, because some people are just shifty, slimy, greasy, and move a certain kind of way.
Okay, so we have your 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 YouTube hubby. Before we do that, let's tell us welcome him properly. Good evening, Rakim.
Hey, good evening. Good evening. Shout out to you, Jose. Shout out to my YouTube wife, Kashelle.
I'm
What's
sorry,
up?
I'm busting down that food so loud. I even know my mic wasn't muted. I'm like busting.
No, it's all good. I got me some food here too. I just ain't ate it yet.
Well, look, to be perfectly honest, I was having some Wi-Fi problems earlier tonight, so it's like it. But you know, the show must go on. The topic for tonight is why people hate their jobs. So, Rakim, what are your thoughts regarding the topic?
My thoughts, why do people hate their jobs? For a multitude of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
People hate their jobs for a multitude. A lot of the times it's because of being taken advantage of, being exploited.
Mm-hmm.
People hate their jobs the same as people hated their jobs when a lot of people were. All right, hold on one second.
Okay.
I agree
A lot
with
of
him too. Like
people,
I feel like I only said a couple things, but I agree with him too. Like the exploited part, yes, for sure.
man. Shout out to Irby. What's going on, Irby? Shout out to you, brother. A lot of people hate their jobs because of exploitation. Period. Point blank. It's a dead end, but you know, you overworked and underpaid, and a lot of the times you're underappreciated, and then you have to deal with all these multitude of personalities. You might run past somebody else that hate their job, but guess what? Their energy is not directed towards the people that make them hate their job. Their energy is directed towards making you miserable while you're at the job. You have people like that. You have people that been there forever, hate the job, but their entertainment, they feel that they're stuck, but their entertainment is seeing new people that come in and getting a kick out of sabotaging them for their own, shits and giggles, excuse my language. So bosses, let me see. What's egotistical bosses? And I hate to say this because I'm not trying to be sexist, but especially women bosses that are in positions of power, based off of my personal experience, has been crazy. Corporate, how people, tend to act and tense up when corporate is making their trips around your job, and everybody trying to make it look like, we're doing this on an everyday basis, and we're just, we're following the company's guidelines, and hell no, we're not, because sometimes the company guidelines is not what's going to get the job done.
Go ahead, TD Jakes, preach.
There's plenty of reasons people hate their job, man. There's plenty of reasons, and then the low pay, the low wages. I've had some terrible jobs, Jose. And technically I've been hating my job. Well, my first job I hated since I was 18 when I was a cart attendant. I used to be a cart attendant, man. And I lasted for like almost a year. Then I was like, nah, I can't do this no more. Because we was cart attendants at Sam's Club. You got to keep collecting the carts. Sometimes they run out of carts. Hello? You got customers yelling at you. You got people on the inside treating you like you dogs out in the yard. So, you guys got to go get carts. You can't be in here. You can't be in here. They want you to they tried to force me to go get carts in the thunder. It was a thunder. And I was just like, what? I was like, they was like, yeah, we need to this day, and they fool, and this is what I was just saying, taking advantage of people that are bright eyed who don't know no better. It was another kid in there, had to be about 17, 16, a couple years younger than me. And he was just like, come on, guys, we can do it, guys. I was like, bro, you go in there, you go out there and grab them carts if you want to while there's lightning going on. And I bet you we gonna find you looking like Beetlejuice. So you go right ahead.
I remember walking off the job while in duty, like I quit. They was like, Miss Smith. I even looked back like, fuck y'all. I'm done with this shit in uniform.
Yeah. I remember this one guy. gonna call me to he was one of my managers, had the nerve to call me inside the building and say, I need you to do a favor for me. The toilets are clogged in a woman's bathroom. I need you to go in there and unclog the I was like, wait, say what? What you say? Huh? I was like, what? I walked in that bathroom, man. That bathroom looked like something out of, like, you can make a horror movie sequel 1, 2, and 3. I was just like, man, I'm not touching. Like about 15 minutes later, I walked past me. He was like, you get that taken care of for me? I just looked at him. I just mugged him and I just kept walking.
Okay. I apologize. I had to like mute myself because I was listening to a phone call regarding my accessoride for tomorrow. For the benefit of those of you who are not from New York, accessoride, that's like a transportation service to those individuals that find it difficult to take public transportation to get from point A to point B. So I just had to mute myself.
Oh yeah, and can't forget either how millions and millions of dollars that these companies make, and they give you a crappy lunch to celebrate all of your hard work. Thank you all so much for your hard work and your tenacity and your perseverance to be able to make us $20 million. Here's hot dogs. Here's some chili cheese hot dogs. And if we're able to double this $22 million, next time we'll have pizza. Little Caesars, I might add.
Yeah, that's true. The job never makes you really feel like they really appreciate and value you for your work that you do. Like they always make it seems like you never get the credit for your part in the big pile. Like it always goes to the upper head, like it's really rare, that person gets recognition for all their hard efforts, what they do for years and months or whatever the case is. Like it's always like the managers or the supervisors or the executives, like they made it work. Like that's another reason people hate their job too, because like the people at the bottom actually doing the work, the hard work, they never get any kind of real acknowledgement or thank you. Like nobody want no fucking donuts and coffee and orange juice all the time on no damn cold pizza. Like, put me a stock in this company if you appreciate me. Show me some real love.
Well, once a year, we have a thing called Employee Recognition Day, where all of a sudden, like 364 days of the year, they don't acknowledge what we do. But one day out of the year, they acknowledge us. So what they do, they give each employee $3 to get donuts, get bagels and coffee and whatnot, and then maybe lunch. Oh, and we get a certificate when we reach certain milestones. Like, for example, when you complete 10 years of city service, 20 years of civil service, 25 years, 30, and what have you. So you get a certificate, okay? Suitable for framing or suitable for lining up your bird cage, whichever you prefer to do. Next year, I'm going to be celebrating 25 years as a municipal employee.
Well, congratulations to you. That's a beautiful thing. I just learned when I left my last job and came to my new job, I lost all the years of service I had in total because I was never picked off a list or in a specific title beyond community associate. So although I have over 10 years of service in New York City as a municipal worker or city worker, like I really only have 4 compared to that because I've never taken a city test or an exam or been placed or picked off a list for anything. So that was really horrible news for me at 41, knowing I put in 10 years already that I'm not going to be acknowledged. So definitely going to be taking some exams for myself and trying to not get finessed by the game anymore at this point.
Well, Rakim, that's the world of municipal government. We are the underpaid, overworked, and underappreciated.
Absolutely. And then on top of it, Don't lie to me. That's another reason why people hate that job. Don't sit up here in these meetings talking about we're family, and you know damn well once you fire me, that's it. That's it. I'm not gonna get any. Hey, is anybody gonna give me a call after I'm fired? No, you don't get none of that. So those jobs is always funny, man. That's why it's like you have some people that go against the grain. Not saying they should do this. I knew this one guy. He was stealing out of the register, and he was going to the casino to gamble. And well, they treated him like crap, so he didn't care. But after he realized that they was on him, you know, I don't know, maybe it was his street instincts that kicked in. He realized people were smiling and everything like that, and he was just like, man, something don't feel right. He just like, oh yeah, I left something out in the car, but he grabbed his coat, and of course we heard the tires screeching from the parking lot. And about 5 minutes later, the police got there, and they was looking for him or whatever, but they never found him. But I'm gonna be right back, Jose. I gotta go do something really quick. I'm gonna jump right back on.
Okay.
Yeah, but I agree with a lot he was saying, Jose. Not for nothing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I'm gonna to be honest. I'll be here for a few minutes. There's a couple more, reasons why people do not like their job. But look, the fact of the matter is, we're fortunate because due to COVID, you have thousands of municipal employees who've gotten laid off all over the country, or they've been furloughed. We've been fortunate that we were able to earn our paychecks every 2 weeks, thanks to our local.
I was just leaving a comment in the chat just now. Of course, yes, agreed. Those things are all facts and true. But for people like me that are not in a specific civil service title, that seniority or list can't bump you. Like, I definitely need some more job security and protection since dues are coming out of my check. So gotta put my big girl panties on and give me a solid position somewhere in here, or figure out what my lane of industry is gonna be. Because I can't just keep recruiting gears and stopping and, trying to make decisions where I feel, I want to grow and just keep starting over for me specifically in this situation, because I don't have a permanent title or been picked off a list, so to say. So it sucks, for me, but I can't complain. I got to do what I got to do.
Okay. I saw your comment. Okay. The thing is, if you're going to put a comment in the chat, what you're gonna have to do is like use another device, like a smartphone, because if you just enter your comment, it's just gonna appear in the private chat.
Oh, okay. I was trying to send a message to everyone because I didn't really shout out Golden or Irby or anybody. But I normally shout them out individually. So thank you for letting me know that. I'm on my cell phone right now.
Yeah, I mean, believe me, I learned that the hard way. So. But look, the fact of the matter is we're very fortunate because considering all the stuff that we deal with, I mean, we even in your position there is a certain amount of job security involved. The fact, and also the fact of the matter is, after some even with those titles that are not, gained through civil service, after a certain length of time, there are certain rights that even those employees gain. I think it's 2.5 years, or I'm not sure.
Right. I've been talking to my union organizer a lot, and something just came up. I had under 5 years because of the whole situation about not having any permanency in a certain title and leaving it one area, going to the next, and whatever. So she's been really helpful, thorough, detailed, communicative and responsive. So no issues there with her. And I'm probably reach out to my homegirl, from the health and wellness at some point, but just trying to keep my head up high and not let this, experience like destroy me because it hasn't been a great experience, honestly and transparently.
Well, I mean, look, there are a lot of civil service exams coming up. Like, for example, there's always the caseworker exam, there's the job opportunity specialist exam. Every couple of years, the exam for fraud investigators pop up. So those are some of the things, that you might want to consider or keep an eye on once those examination periods come up. And, try to start preparing from the beginning. So not only that you pass the exam, that you score high enough on the list to be called in for an interview.
Yes, for sure, because I just found out an exam I took, the list was exhausted and they only called me one time and that was it. And I'm like, all right, so I just lost my money then? Like, that's it? Like, so no other opportunity? Like, and that was frustrating to hear.
Yeah, you know what? That could be frustrating. I mean, look, I have taken the promotional exam for my title 3 times. The first time I died on the list. Now, when I'm going to explain to the audience what I mean by dying on the list. Okay, whenever you take a civil service exam, whether it be open, competitive, or promotion, okay, the list is usually good for 4 years, unless they're able to extend the list. Now, if the 4 years,
but you gotta explain to them what the list is because they don't know what the list is.
Okay. I'm sorry. Now, whenever there's a civil service exam, there's a civil exam number. Okay, once the exam has been completed, and then they grade the exams, a list is formed, a list of people who actually passed the exam. Okay.
And for example, like a NYPD officer or a firefighter, right? Let's give them an example.
Yeah. Or in my case, fraud investigator. That's my official civil service title. Okay. So let's say we both take the exam for fraud investigator. Okay. We both pass. You have to have at least a 70 to pass. And then once we pass, we are placed on what's called a civil service list. So once the list has been established, they start calling people off the list for interviews. Okay. However, some lists can have hundreds of names on the list. And what happens is that the list can be terminated before you get an opportunity to come in for an interview, which is what I meant when I say dying on the list. It's not like you don't physically die. It's just that, unfortunately, the list has expired and you were never given an opportunity for an interview.
When that just happened to me, I just called and checked in on a hospital care investigator position. I got called, sent directions and everything to come to an appointment. Day before the interview, they called me and canceled it. I've been seeing the job postings on all of social media, hiring outlets like Indeed and Monsters, et cetera, et cetera. I called to inquire about the status of my list number, and they told me that the list was exhausted. And they sent me like some kind of unautomated, unreplied message, which pretty much meant like there's nothing I can do. Like, that's it. You took this test, you passed, but you didn't get high enough. So yeah, we moved on. We closed the list.
Yeah. But that's why it's very important whenever you take a civil service exam. This is what I tell people. Start preparing for the exam from the point that you file. Okay. So what you do is you spend like an hour a day or 2 hours, what have you. And also take advantage of the prep courses that our welfare fund provides to help you prepare for those exams. This doesn't guarantee that you get promoted, but it does. It increases your chances of being called off the list. Unfortunately, the first time I was on the promotional list, I was never called. The second time I was called for a couple of times, I was not offered a position and the list died. So now I'm on the list for the third time.
Can you recommend a test I can take that can get me out of community associate where I have opportunities for various agencies?
Okay. The only one that I can think of off the top of my head, and this is provided that you have any customer service experience, is the job opportunity specialist.
Okay, I'm gonna look for that on a DCAT's website tonight.
Yeah. Actually, there might be some provisional appointments in HR, through NICAPs. Now, the thing is, if you're going to take a provisional appointment, it's very important that once the exam is out, that you file and you score high enough to retain your position.
Right. Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Sorry about my background.
And it's just that this wasn't meant to be like information regarding civil service exam, but it's just that when I just want to make sure, because I use some terminology that may not be well known to some of you, so I just want to make sure that you have some sort of an understanding what I'm talking about. Okay.
Right. Definitely understand. Okay, Jose, I'm definitely have to step down for a moment and get myself together for the night or whatever the case is, but I'll definitely be listening on the chat side, okay?
Okay. Thank you for stopping by.
Okay, good night.
Good night. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a couple other things that can make a very difficult job environment. Like, for example, if you have like an office romance that goes bad, and then next thing you know, everyone's aware of all their personal business and what have you. Also, you need to be mindful that not everyone that you work with is necessarily your friend, because there's certain things that you do need to keep private, because unfortunately you have those individuals that will take advantage and try to use your information against you. Okay. And of course, a shout out to everyone that's watching, even those are in the clouds. So I'm just good. Okay, now another thing that can make your job environment difficult, dealing with toxic supervisors and toxic managers. Okay. Now, what happens is, you have certain individuals that are in the positions of authority that who should not have been in those positions of authority, because maybe they don't have the temperament, or maybe they allow the position to go to their heads. Okay. Now, I have been fortunate. I have not had that many, experiences dealing with toxic people. And what I try to do is I try to, whenever I can, make sure that we're both me and the one that supervises me are on the same page. Okay. And of course, it helps when your supervisors and your managers clarify what is expected of you. Okay. I mean, like I said before, one thing that can make it a difficult environment is that whenever you do not know what is your role, or your role is undefined, or your role is constantly being changed. So, like, for example, instead of one day you might be doing filing, next thing you're doing something else, and and another day you do something else on top of that. Okay. I'm gonna say this much. People don't like to work in an environment where their role is undefined, because what happens is expectations may change, and you're not and you be judged based on expectations being constantly in flux. So that could be a real problem. Okay. Another thing that could be a bigger problem is that if your employer is not doing well and there are talks of layoffs, okay, I personally have worked in environments where there are no unions. So basically, at times you're at the mercy of your employer. Okay. Now I worked for the private sector for 5 years in a foster care agency, and unfortunately, during that time period, there was a great deal of employee turnover. In fact, when I left my agency to start working as a municipal employee, I was, I think, the fourth or fifth most senior person in experience, and I only had 5 years with the foster care agency. I'm not going to state who they are, because even though I haven't been employed with them since 1999, it's best that I don't mention the name of my former employer. It is suffice to say that I worked in the foster care sector for 5 years. Okay. And of course, another reason is the pay. Okay. Now, as far as what is the typical pay for a municipal employee with a bachelor's degree, generally more or less, it's about 40 to 45,000 a year. Now that sounds like a great salary, and unless you take into account that I'm living in New York when everything is expensive. Okay, unfortunately, $40,000 to $45,000 a year is not going to get you very much. Okay, it's not like you're living in some other places where the cost of living is not as high. Unfortunately, in places like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, and Miami, the cost of living is very high. So $40,000 to $45,000 a year, that is not much. And also, when you take into account that you have people with a great deal of student loan debt, as much as over $100,000 a year or more, that could be a hardship for some people. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say one more thing that can make an environment very difficult. Okay. When false accusations are levied against you, okay, whether it be levied against you because of your coworkers, or whether it be false accusation levied by supervision, whether it be false accusation levied by managers, that could make an environment very toxic indeed. Okay, and as far as working for female supervision. I have been fortunate in the sense that I have not had. Yeah, you know what? I fear for you, Irby, because that's a big problem. Okay, that is a huge problem when you have student loan debt. Okay, unfortunately, it's very expensive to attend college nowadays. Um, to be perfectly honest, there are many areas where you can earn good money without a college degree. And this is something that could be a problem, which is okay. In my day, we were drilled about the importance of getting a college education in order to get a good job. Okay. Well, that template may have worked for people like me and my generation. It didn't. It hasn't worked out all that great for the millennials and the Gen Z people because unfortunately they are hit with a huge amount of student loan debt. Okay, and it could be difficult, and it's frustrating when you pursue a bachelor's degree and you take out debt, and then when you're trying to find a job, it's like you have to pay off the student loan debt plus pay for your place to live and pay for food and your utilities and what have you. And then hopefully, if you're lucky, you have a little bit of money left over that you can put away for a rainy day. So I do feel a lot for these young people who had to deal with going to college and then getting a lot of student loan debt. Okay. Let's see. I think we got a couple of comments. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? It can be very challenging indeed. Okay. And and let's keep it real. When it comes to working for the city, I hate to say this, the city is notoriously slow. Let me just give you a perfect example of what I mean. Back in, I think it was 2003 or 2004, I took the exam for the title I hold, which is fraud investigator. And I did very well on the exam. In fact, I think I got like a 91 or a 92. Okay. And there was a list of, say, 600 or 700 people that passed the exam. And I was like on the top fifth on the list. Okay. Would you believe I waited a whole year before I was called in for an interview the first time? I mean, just think about it. I mean, I did very well on the exam. I mean, to get like a 90 or 91 or 92, that's a very good score. Okay. And then and then you waited a year. Now, let me explain to you why that is the case. Okay. Typically, and I say typically, as far as like open competitive exams, you take an exam, and then there is a period where people file a protest because there might be certain answers that people had selected that they felt was the correct answers and then were marked wrong. So of course so you have to file a protest and then you report the protest to the protest and then you try to expound why. So generally it takes about a year for a list to be established. Once the list has been established, then they have to start calling people off the list. And depending where you are on the list, it can take at least a year before you get called in for an interview. And generally, they'll call like a certain number of people. Let's say 20 or 30, and there might be maybe 4 or 5 positions. So it can be really frustrating when you go to what's called a hiring pool, when you hope to be interviewed, and then you spend the entire day and you don't get an interview. I mean, that's the nature of civil service, which is why whenever you take a civil service exam, you try to score as high as possible, because the higher you score, the sooner that you will be called in. And there's no guarantee that you get the position, because you have to interview for the position. So you have to be mindful of what you say and what you don't say, and also you have to sell yourself, so to speak. So with that being said, okay, let me just share with you what's going to be the topic for Friday's stream. Okay. So what I'm going to be talking about is how to reduce stress during the holidays. Okay. The fact of the matter is, the stress is going to be there. Okay. Particularly when it comes to certain holidays like Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, or even Three Kings Day for us. And why is that there? Because part of it, you have certain expectations. And then also, sometimes those expectations may not be realistic. So that's the reason why there's going to be a certain amount, stress, and sometimes that stress level can be very high. So what I'm going to be discussing on Friday night at, let me see, what's this? Oops, excuse me. Hold up. Wait for the call back. That was very stressful. You don't say you'll wait. Okay, I'm just trying to understand the question. But the fact of the matter is this, like I said before, when it comes to civil service exams, you just have to be patient and wait until you get a call in for an interview and what have you. But when it comes to dealing with stress in the holidays, so what I'm going to be talking about, what some of the things you can do to reduce your stress level. Okay. I mean, you're not going to be able to reduce it completely. The stress is going to be there. However, the key is do what you can to reduce the stress level. And part of it has to do with what are your expectations. So I'm going to be discussing that on Friday, probably 9 o'clock or 9:30. I'm just going to have to play it by ear. So, of course, all of you are more than welcome to enter your comments, after the stream is over. And of course, let's just keep it respectful, folks, okay? Because, there is no need to get, to be disrespectful. There's no need to go on and have a lot of tomfoolery. But I do appreciate. I was talking about waiting for that long call. Okay. Okay. I think I get it. Unfortunately, when it comes to okay, okay, no problem. So in any case, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this stream to bed, and you know what? If you want to share the stream, by all means do so. Okay, because I think it's useful information that people can can benefit as far as why there's certain people that do not like their jobs. Okay, I'm fortunate that even considering all the stuff that's happened in the last few years, I like my job. Okay, I like my job. It's not crazy. It's not stressful, and as long as you're able to adapt to different work environments, you will be fine. So, with that being said, I thank all of you for paying attention to me, because you could have watched any other stream, you could have watched concerning any other creator. You saw fit to actually listen to me talk and interact with no, with other people. So, with that being said, uh, I'm gonna close the same way that I always close. We must do everything possible to minimize our contact with the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by their stupidity and massive insanity. This has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron, wishing all of you a very good night. Take care and peace.